Hey friends, it's Robert. So I have been busy getting ready for the holidays, and one of the things I'm doing this year is creating a lot of my own decorations. What I want to show you today is a project that you could use to decorate your home, tie on the top of a gift box, or even give as the gift itself. We're going to be making sprigs of fabric mistletoe. Now, if you're not familiar, mistletoe is an old school Christmas tradition. Bundles of the plant are hung in a doorway, and when you pass underneath with someone you love, you're supposed to give them a kiss. Now, we're creating it out of fabric so you can use this year after year. So let's get started. Now, mistletoe has beautiful elongated teardrop shaped leaves and little white berries. We're going to begin by creating a template for the leaves. To do this, we'll take a piece of cardstock, fold it in half, and cut out half of a leaf shape. Now, you can create this project as large or as small as you'd like. The leaves I'm making are 3.5 inches in length. Next, we're going to select the fabric we'll be using. Now, one of the things I love about this project is that it requires so little fabric, you can use scraps from previous projects. It looks great in any color palette, and you can even use patterned fabric. I'm going to be using a traditional dark green for one side of the leaf and a lighter green for the other. Each leaf requires 2 pieces of fabric. The sprig of mistletoe I'm creating has 6 leaves. Cut your fabric out a little bit larger than your template. I'm cutting out pieces that are 4 inches long by 2 inches wide. Now set aside your fabric and we're going to prepare our stems. I'm using cloth-wrapped floral wire and cutting it into 6-inch pieces. Now take one of your pieces of fabric and brush on a light layer of fabric glue. Then take one of the wire pieces and position it on top so that half of it is on the fabric and half of it extends off like an actual stem. Then take a second piece of fabric, place it on top, and gently press those 2 pieces together. You're going to want to do this for all 6 of your leaves and then set them aside for 2 to 3 hours to dry. Once the glue is dry, we can take our template and trace it onto the leaves. Position the base of the leaf right above the stem, and then trace around it with either a pencil or a disappearing ink marker. You can find this at any fabric supply store. With a sharp pair of scissors, cut out all of your leaves. Because we glued the fabric together, you're going to end up with a nice clean edge that won't fray. Once the leaves are all cut out, we can begin to assemble the mistletoe sprig. Now we're going to do this in pairs to reflect the way that an actual mistletoe plant grows. Take 2 of the leaves, stack them on top of one another, and twist the stems together. Now take a second pair, overlap them slightly, and twist those stems together, and then finally add in the third pair, twisting that stem around as well. Now to cover up that floral wire, I'm taking a long strip of brown linen that I've cut into a 1/2 inch wide strip. Begin with one of the pair of leaves and tightly bind them around the base, and then work your way down the stem to the second pair. Wrap up that stem around the base of the leaves, back down the stem, and over to the third pair of leaves. When you get down to the final end of the stem, loop the fabric over the end and then bind it around tightly. Trim off any excess and glue it in place with a little dab of fabric glue. Now we want to finish off our mistletoe with some berries. And to do this, I'm using some cream-colored linen. And on this, I'm going to trace some circles using the end of my thread spool. It's about 1.5 inches wide. Cut those circles out and then thread a needle with some matching thread. We're going to do some very simple sewing. It's a running stitch that we'll do around the circumference of the circle about 1/8 of an inch in. It's simply going in and out of the fabric, and because the fabric is so small, you can probably weave several stitches onto the needle before pulling the thread through. Once you get all the way around, pull the thread a little bit and you'll see the sides start to gather up and form a cup shape. Now we want to stuff the berry, and I'm going to be doing that using some polyester fiberfill. Now this is something you can find at any craft or fabric supplies store. It's usually used to fill stuffed animals or pillows. Take a little piece of it, put it in the palm of your hands, and rub them together to form a small ball. Now, if you don't have access to polyester fiberfill, you could also use a portion of a cotton ball. Place the filling down inside the fabric cup, and then pull the thread taut so it gathers up around it. You may want to use the end of a pencil or a chopstick just to stuff that stuffing down inside. And then pull the thread taut and do a couple of stitches across the top just to secure that opening. Now we're going to attach the berries to the mistletoe sprig. Decide where you'd like to position it, and then put your needle through the fabric wrapped around the stem and then back through the berry. Just do this a couple of times, pull the thread taut, tie it off, and trim off the ends. Now I'm creating 3 berries, but you could definitely add as many as you'd like. Now at this point, your mistletoe is basically finished. You just need to reposition those leaves into a more natural configuration, perhaps add some ribbon, and then it's ready to hang in your doorway. But I do want to tell you about one alternative that would allow you to create Christmas holly. When you're creating your leaf template, if you create it like a holly leaf, follow all of the same steps. Create 2 or 3 of these leaves and bind them together, adding red berries. You've got another great decoration. Either variety is going to look great on top of a gift package, hanging from your Christmas tree, or even beautifully packaged to give as a gift itself. Now, if you haven't done so already, I want to invite you to subscribe to my own channel by following the link in the video description below. I want to wish you a very happy holiday season. Thank you so much for watching, and please join me next time for another great DIY project.